Take It Slow Homestead. I'm Carol, and today I would like to take you along with me as I enjoy the simple life. So here's a list of things that I have to do today, things that I put on my list. Mow the lawn, harvest eggplant, harvest green beans, harvest carrots, bottle peaches, plant strawberry starts. Now, you've already seen me mow the lawn, and so I won't show you that whole thing again, but we may talk about a few things along the way. Show you my lawn tractor and what I have to do every time I mow. Also, I have some herbs that are drying, and some of them are dry and they need to be taken care of too. So that's always on the list. It's kind of an ongoing thing because, you know, certain ones are ready to pick at certain times and different from the other ones, and so they're all in different stages of dryness. So I'll see what's dry and take care of those too. So the big question is, am I going to get everything done on this list today? Guess we'll see. Here I am in my tractor shed for my lawn tractors. This is the one, I have two of them. One's older, and then we got another one. So here is the one that I'm going to be using today, which is the one that I normally use, because it's the one that's working. Okay, so yeah, I guess you can see that. I need to turn the camera around. Okay, the first thing I need to do is put I don't know what you call it, a hood. It's this thing right here. I put that hood onto that thing right there. And then it holds the bags. So after I get the hood on, then I put the bags on. I also put, this is the hardest part, this is the flap where the grass comes out at. If you don't use mower bags, then it just shoots out at this area. But if you do use mower bags, and I always try to keep the grass if possible, then I have to put this thing, part of the grass catcher, hook it down here. Oh, I need to move that grass out of the way from the last time. And have to hook it onto a couple of small little holes and on the metal frame, and hook that onto it, and then take the other part of the grass catcher tube, the chute, which is right there, and hook that onto this one right here. Okay, so, and then I make sure that the oil is good and that it has plenty of gas. And then I also every time have to check, especially this tire right here, because it's always low, because it has a problem, has a leak, so I need to pump that up every time. So that's what I do every time when I get ready to mow. Okay, that's it. Now it's ready to go. So you might think that's a lot of trouble just to mow the lawn, but I love to mow, so it's worth it. Okay, I was able to cross off the first thing on my list. Mow. That's all done now. I made a video clip of the things that I need to do before I can mow. And it was 7 minutes long, just under 7 minutes. So I decided this is way too boring. It was boring for me, so I didn't want to put everybody to sleep. I will edit that clip so it's not quite so long, maybe cut it down to 1 or 2 minutes. But just so you know, it took me just under 7 minutes to get ready to mow the lawn. And now it's time to harvest the eggplant. Here we are out at the eggplant patch. And these eggplants that I planted are not the egg-shaped eggplants. They're a different variety and they're called Japanese eggplants. And so I didn't realize I was going to be planting those, but I did. And when I got looking at the package, sure enough, that's what they are. They're long and they're narrow, and several of them are ready to harvest today. You'll probably see some pretty little white butterflies flitting around. We used to think they were pretty when we first started gardening, and we soon found out that they will destroy your brassicas. They will destroy your cabbage and your broccoli and your cauliflower and all of those things. So beware of the pretty little white butterflies. Okay, let's get harvesting this eggplant. Okay, there's the first one. Long and skinny. I harvested some of these the other day and I made some ratatouille. Really, really good. I love it. In fact, that's what I'm going to have for lunch again today. I'm also going to try some eggplant parmesan with some of this. But actually, the ones that I'm harvesting today, I'm going to blanch them and freeze them and then use them later on. This is also one of the varieties of eggplant that have thorns. If you can imagine, who would ever have thought to put thorns on eggplant? But these do. Every leaf has a little thorn right there in the middle. And then on some of the branches, I think on the branches, well, I know at least that they're on the leaves because I've been stuck, and so be careful. There's a lot of different varieties of eggplant, and so you might want to research that and get some that aren't going to poke you. I'm going to keep harvesting these, and then at the end we'll see how many I have. Okay, all done. Here's what we got. You can see all those. Back it up a little bit. So, got that many. They look pretty good. There's a couple of them in there that are a little bit shorter. They're not quite as long as the others, but they were wide enough, which I thought they were wide enough. So, like these right here. There are some that are this length, but they're really skinny. But since these were a little wider in diameter, I thought, I'm sure they're ready. So anyway, there you go. Now, the next project is the green beans. This is a blue morning glory, which is one of my very favorite flowers. I just love those. There's a few more right along there. One peeking back in there. Back down there. Yeah. There. Pretty pretty. I have some planted along the fence. You can see a few other blooms. I really like those. My potato patch is right here, and I dug up another hill and got some more potatoes, even better than the first ones I dug last week or whenever that was. So they're starting to turn a little yellow and dying off. So the good thing about that means that they are soon to be dug. The bad thing about that is summer is going to end. I actually have right there a little tiny cabbage starting to form. Yep, it's little. We'll see how those go. All right, turn around, turn around, turn around. There's the path. So we'll just walk our way home. We've got some marigolds blooming right there. They're supposed to keep bugs away from my tomatoes. And I have more tomatoes setting. This one down here, my first one, is there. Kind of hard to get too close to it, but I can see that it's starting to change. It's starting to get a dark yellow, so it will be ripening. I could pick it now and it could ripen in the house. Oh, there's some beautiful blue morning glories. Oh, got a fly that's trying to land on me. Not nice. All right, go over here to these other tomato plants. Well, the other day I saw a cluster of little tomatoes. Where are they? Well, there's one. That's not what I saw. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong plant. Could be. So, right in there, you can, right there. I think I've got leaves in the way. And the flies, they're bad. Where are you, tomatoes? Oh, there they are. You thought I was teasing. There you go. So now I might have to come out and prune back the tops of the plants and things like that if I want them to ripen or produce more down lower. All right, so thank you, green bean trellis, for the wonderful harvest. There's my list. I've now harvested the eggplant also, besides mowing, and harvested the green beans. Still have things to do on my list, but I'm hot, I'm tired, I'm hungry. So I'm gonna take a break and eat my lunch. I wanted to share something with you really quick that I heard the other day on one of my favorite YouTube gardening / homesteading channels, and I'm pretty sure it was on David the Good, who I've mentioned before, and he was interviewing someone, talking to someone else about their gardening ideas. And what this person said that he was interviewing was that he likes to live by these 4 things when it comes to gardening or any kind of business, anything that you're hoping to produce something with. And so this is what he said. Number 1, do things on time. Number 2, do things to a high standard of excellence. Number 3, do things with minimal waste. Number 4, get joy. When you do get joy from doing things in this way, it will produce motivation for you to keep on doing number 1, 2, and 3. Doing things on time with a high standard of excellence and with minimal waste. And I thought, what good advice. If you have a business or if you're doing any kind of a project in which you would like to succeed, then I thought those were great guidelines to go by. So when you're watching your YouTube channels, remember David the Good. He always has interesting things for me anyway. And another channel that I want to talk about just for a second today is called Lazy Dog Farm. And the guy that does that one is so knowledgeable with so many vegetables and their different varieties and how he plants them and takes care of them and harvests them, all the things that he does in his garden. And he lives in the South. So if you live in the North or anywhere in between, then you have to adapt and adjust for your own area. But I have learned a lot of good things from Lazy Day Farm. So two channels that you might want to check out, David the Good and Lazy Day Farm. And I have a lot more, and as time goes by, I will keep suggesting other channels that might help you and that you might like. Now I'm going to eat my lunch and take a break. Since I haven't yet learned about everything I need to know about editing these videos, I just need to make a big correction. It's Lazy Dog Farm. And I kept saying Lazy Day. Lazy Day, that would be my farm. But his is Lazy Dog Farm. It's a name that they've had for a long time, and they're just still using it because they like it. And I like it too. Lazy Dog Farm. Not lazy people. Lazy Dog Farm. All right. Got that fixed. Continuing on with my list, I'm going to skip the carrots for now and bottle some peaches, and then hopefully have time when it starts cooling off to plant the strawberry starts. I have my big pot of water starting to get hot, and that will be for processing the quarts of peaches. This is the rack that goes in the big pot. This is the jar lifter. I don't know where I got the other one, but a year or two ago I got another one. And so I have 2 jar lifters. If the old one breaks on me, then I've got another one. This little long red thing is a magnet, and it is for lifting the lids out of the water that they have been warming up in. Now, I have heard, see how that lifts them out. I've heard recently that you don't have to do this with lids anymore, but my lids are not this year's lids. Let go. Oh, that's a good magnet. There we go. They're from before, and so I don't really know if the new rule is just for new lids, or if it's also for the lids that I've had in my storage before. I always try to keep a few ahead. You never know what might happen, like they don't sell them in town anymore, stuff like that. You can buy all the bottles you want with the lids included in them, but we don't need bottles, guys. We just need lids. We've already got bottles from before, right? This is the syrup, which is just water and sugar, and it's twice as much water as sugar because I'm using a thin syrup, and that's the directions for a thin syrup. So what I have in here are 12 cups of water and 6 cups of sugar, and it's all dissolved and heated up. This pan just contains water, which is coming to a boil. See those little bubbles? When it comes to a full boil, then I can start preparing the peaches. I have 1 box of peaches, and they're Alberta's. I've already washed a few of them off. Well, to be exact, 30 of them. So they're all washed off, and the next thing they will do is go into the pan of boiling water for 30 seconds, just 30. And then I'll take them out of there. Actually, you know what I need? I need one of these, some tongs, to get them out of the boiling water, and then they will be put in this sink full of ice water. You can see a little bit of the ice right there. Hasn't quite all melted yet, almost. And there's a little bit more ice right there. So put them in ice water after they've boiled for 30 seconds. And then I have my little paring knife. I will slip the skins off and then cut the peach in half, take out the pit, and then I like to chop up my peaches into bite-sized pieces. I used to bottle half peaches, and if you have narrow mouth jars like this one and that one, it's kind of hard to get your hand in there to flip over the peach because they're all supposed to be facing down. But if you cut them up into chunks, you don't have to worry about facing anything down or up or whatever. And then I have 2 small mouth quart jars and 5 wide mouth quart jars, which is more fun than the small mouth when you're doing fruit and just about anything. I suppose juice would be just fine to do in the quarts, and I've done some apricot juice in quarts just last summer, I believe it was. Oh yes, because we had a big crop of apricots. That was a blessing. So here are these really nice peaches. They look good. My son said the one that he ate was absolutely wonderful. That really wasn't a quote from him, but he liked it. He said it was good. Okay, that water's almost boiling. So those are all of the equipment and the ingredients for these peaches. So we will let that water come to a boil, and then we'll come back and do a jar or 2 to show you how I do them. The first thing I'm going to do is put some peaches in this boiling water. Let's see how many I can get in here. One more. 30 seconds. Now these are the tongs that I will be using to lift them out, and I'm just going to, when I lift them out, I'll set them on this lid and carry them over to the sink of ice water and put them in there. So that's what I've kept the lid for. Tongs are right there handy. 4 seconds left. 2, 1. Okay. That's it. Oops. Okay, there's one. Now I'm going to put these in a sink of ice water. Alright, I'm not going to put any more in there yet because I like to do them as I go along. Let's see. Let's just see if we can set this up right about. Yeah, that's good. Alright. So here they are over here in the ice water. You just grab one. This is how I do it. See the separation in the skin right there? Right there? I just cut right down there, all the way around, and the skin just comes off easily. I just stick my thumb or my fingers in there. Here's the pit. Pull it out. I just lay it in the sink. I don't give it to my chickens. They don't eat those big pits. And they have such a hard outside to them. They will last forever in your yard. So these are pretty big peaches. I'm going to cut this half into thirds and then into thirds again. Just put them in there. So into thirds. It depends on the size of your fruit. Actually, this half wasn't quite as huge as the other half. Okay. So do another one here. I usually separate them and take the pit out, and then I skin them. That's the way I normally do it. Cut them up into nice bite-sized chunks. Like I said before, it's easier, for me anyway, to eat peaches that are already chunked up. What do you do? What's the first thing you do when you have a half of a peach in your dish? You start cutting it up. So why not cut them up beforehand, right? I remember when I was a little girl, I used to help my mom do peaches, bottle peaches. Not every time she did it, but I remember doing it with her. So it's really good to let your kids help. You know what they say, if you don't let them do things, especially their own chores, you're not doing them any favor. They need to learn how to work and be self-reliant, right? The world would be better off if everyone was self-reliant. And we wouldn't be looking at other people's stuff and wishing we could have their stuff. Because we would have our own. Alright. If your fruit is good sized, like these peaches are, It usually takes about that many, 4 or 5 to fill your jar. I just use my knife to go down the side and release any air bubbles that might be in there. And I forgot to do one of my favorite things to do, and that is that as I'm going along, I like to add the syrup. This is the syrup from that one big pan in there. 1/2 inch headspace. Just take some cold water or warm water, whatever. Go around the rim until you can hear it squeak. Then you know that it's clear of any peach juice or anything like that. So now I'm going to take the lid out of the water, which I have right there, the pan of water. Put the lid on, put the ring on. All right, there's one. And that's how I do it. So hopefully you'll get your hands on some fruit or whatever and learn how to bottle it, learn how to preserve it. Remember that when you're preserving fruits and usually tomatoes, if you use lemon juice with it, also fruit juices, when you do jams and jellies and pickles, you can process those in a boiling water bath, which is what we're doing with these in that big kettle. If you're doing vegetables or meats, then you need to pressure can those items. You can't just boil them in a pot of boiling water. You have to use a pressure canner for vegetables and meats. So remember those things and get a good canning book. This is the first batch. They've been processed. They're all ready to take out of this big water bath canner and put them over onto a towel. So I have a big towel here that's been folded up a couple of times, and I'm just going to put all of those 7 jars that I did on that towel. You need to keep them an inch or so apart so that they cool better. And when you're taking them out of the water bath canner, don't tilt them sideways. There will be some water probably still on the top of the jar, on the lid, and it's tempting to want to just tilt your jar and get that water to drip off, but you really shouldn't do that. You might mess up the seal if you do stuff like that. Put that one right there in the middle. And get these on the side first, because I don't want my basket to tilt. So just put those there. Hope I'm not making anybody dizzy by going back and forth so much. Okay, and now we'll get the last one out. And while those were processing for 42 minutes, because my altitude is almost 6,000 feet. While those were processing, then I filled up 7 more jars and got them all ready to go. And I have them in a sink of really hot water, just from the tap, but it's hot water. And I'm going to put a few ice cubes in the big water bath canner right there to kind of soften the heat. These are nice and hot, but they're not as hot as the water in that water bath canner, so I don't want to shock the bottles. So after I put the ice cubes in the water bath canner to cool it down just a little bit, then I will put these 7 jars in the canner and bring it up to a boil and then process them for 42 minutes also. And that just about takes care of my box of peaches. I just have enough left for probably maybe 2 pies. For sure 1, maybe 2, which is one of my very favorite treats, peach pie. Okay, so there you have it. And as far as my list goes, I can cross off the peaches. I can not cross off harvesting carrots because I didn't do that. And I cannot cross off planting the strawberries because I didn't do that. And so there's my list. I still have carrots to do, strawberries to plant. It's getting dark outside. And there's my strawberry plants. I don't know if you can see them very well. Here we go. Yep. So those will have to wait until tomorrow. Thanks for joining me today as I tackled my big list. I didn't get it all done, but I got a lot done. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something new. Hit that like button and subscribe. Make a comment. I need to learn more. And share with your friends. And remember that even when you take it slow, you can accomplish a lot.